Hey guys, it's God Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 113th episode of my series where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it had, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. While there's many duos that feature one MC with one producer handling the beats, arguably none hold as much weight in the hip-hop zeitgeist as Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Cousin of the late legend Heavy D, Pete Rock got his start just carrying records around and soaking up whatever game he could off of being part of Heavy D's entourage. While CL Smooth released a couple solo albums in the mid to late 2000s, Pete Rock has a pretty extensive production discography, giving classic beats to all types of legendary MCs, both old and new. For example, just a few of the artists he worked with include Run DMC, Redman, Nas, De La Soul, West Side Gun, and various other members of the GXFR movement, and of course a myriad of Wu-Tang members. He's also had a prolific run of beat tapes and instrumental projects that show he can do much more than just build the groundwork of a song for an MC to finish fleshing out with their bars. Of course, that's a great skill in itself, but Pete's ability to catch potential flips that nobody else would and use them to create a sonic journey is why he's often put in the same conversations as acts like DJ Shadow, The Avalanches, Nujabes, or even Jay Dilla. Unfortunately, Pete and CL haven't been on the best of terms for a pretty long time now, and at the time of making this video, it doesn't seem very likely that a new album is coming down the pipeline anytime soon. This is a real shame, as any hip-hop head knows, and while I don't really want to speculate on who's at fault or who should be held responsible for the lack of music from the duo, I will say that I watched a video where CL explains his side of the story, and it's extremely concise and well thought out. Regardless, the fact of the matter is we only have two albums from Pete Rock and CL Smooth as an actual group, and both are about as essential as 90s hip-hop can get. In fact, they're both so amazing and impactful that I flip-flopped on which one to cover first, and up until recently I had decided I was going to do their debut, Mecca and the Soul Brother, first, which arguably had the duo's most well-known song in their short but endlessly influential discography, that being Troy or They Reminisce Over You. This track was a touching dedication to Trouble T-Roy, who was a dancer and hype man for Heavy D that tragically lost his life in a pretty unfortunate accident in 1990. And you could make a really strong argument that this is the most instantly recognizable horn sample in the genre. While that's just one of a plethora of classic moments on Pete and CL's first album, they understandably progressed with the rest of the game over the next few years, leading 1994's follow-up, The Main Ingredient, to feature most of the same elements as Mecca and the Soul Brother, just with an updated sound and feel. The impact from both of these albums could be felt across the culture when they dropped, with the debut and The Main Ingredient both being draped in classic moments, be them lyrical or instrumental, and you can hear the direct influence from either side with how many times their work has been referenced, sampled, or repurposed. Pete was one of the first guys to break down the notion that if a record has already been sampled, it's virtually now retired for the rest of the community, as Black Sheep had actually already used the sample that Pete would pull for They Reminisce Over You on Similac Child. However, they used a completely different part of the song, and if the attitude of, well, I shouldn't even check this record for any cool moments to grab since another rapper used it already, had prevailed, not only would we have missed out on the most iconic horn sample in hip-hop, but we'd have missed out on countless classic songs and MCs. That's why it really annoys me when uneducated, casual fans act like Jay did some huge disservice by sampling that old Ice-T track for 99 Problems, or repurposing it however you want to look at it, when any actual hip-hop head knows that exact method had been used more times than it's possible to count. And it didn't start in the 2000s either. If you're someone who's actually familiar with all or even most of the LPs I've discussed on the channel, you're probably aware of just how engraved in the culture this style of creation has been since the 80s. A great example is actually on the first track here, because we get led into this experience with the dope opening song In the House, which takes the shout out that Pete and CL received a few years earlier on Tribe's Low End Theory, and they recontextualize it into a new hook with a completely different vibe and feel. CL Smooth has an endless amount of chemistry and personality, and his flows are infectious all across the main ingredient. He's really one of those guys who's so charismatic, he makes you feel like he was born to do this, as it always sounds so natural and intrinsic whenever he grabs a mic. As you can expect, Pete Rock handled all the production on this thing, but while it doesn't seem like any features are listed on the album credits, there are definitely some guest appearances from the likes of Vinia Mojica, Crystal Johnson, Data, as well as Robbo and Graplova from the East Coast collective I&I. For my three favorite tracks to come from this classic, I'd probably have to name the title track, I Gotta Love and Take You There. For honorable mentions that didn't quite make my final cut, I'd have to go with In the House, I Get Physical, Carmel City, Escape, Worldwide, Tell Me, Check It Out, In the Flesh, Sun Won't Come Out, and Searching. Thank you for watching my 113th video. Next time we're going to do a West Coast album that virtually defines the term impact. So tune in for that one, and be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs are from what sadly looks like this duo's last album in their short but endlessly influential discography. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.